I'm so excited today to have Mariangelica Alvarado on the podcast. Mariangelica is an experienced business consultant with a demonstrated history of working in the telecommunications industry. Her skills in sales, management, and marketing strategy have helped her clients to win and thrive. She's the founder of Luminary Catalyst, a fractional business development firm that creates sales strategies based on a deep study of your industry. With a critical eye, they identify areas for improvement and tailor strategies to meet your unique needs. Their marketing strategy includes in-depth studies to understand your business's challenges and to craft tailored solutions to increase revenue. Angelica, I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for being on the show.
I'm so grateful to be your guest today, William. And always, connecting with other professionals is, I think, the most amazing opportunity that you can give yourself through networking. So thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. We've had some great conversations so far, and I can't wait for this one that we can share and other people can glean from your wisdom and insights today.
Welcome to Catalytic Leadership, the podcast designed to help leaders intentionally grow and thrive. Here is your host, author, and leadership and executive coach, Dr. William Attaway.
I'd love to start with you sharing a little bit of your story with our listeners, particularly around your journey and your development as a leader. How did you get started?
I think leadership is something that you have somewhat of a ability inside that then it starts peeking out in the most simple ways. I remember just being in school, in high school, and volunteering to do things and not worrying about stepping up and just participating with fellow classmates and things like that. I didn't see it as leadership back then. I was just happy to be part of a community and take advantage of it and participate in an activity. But then as I developed out of college and got into my career, I realized that leadership is something that came not easy, but an affinity to it for me. And then I wanted to learn more and align myself with people that I saw as leaders. And I would then look at what they did to successfully elevate their leadership skills, and also what didn't they do right. Sometimes it's better to learn what not to do than what to do.
Yes, it is. That could be incredibly valuable.
Indeed.
So your journey has not just been one straight direction from start to stop. You have had a lot of different experiences.
Yes. And you know what? The volunteering was a way for me to show my leadership skills because, again, I wanted to be a part of a bigger community. I've volunteered for nonprofits down here. I've served in part of committees. Through networking, I've also volunteered to be part of, chairing a committee. And even though you think that was like a leadership journey, I didn't see it that way. It was just my way of contributing. And then I had no problems just, I hate to say this, telling people what to do. It becomes this analytical thing where you're like, well, if we do it this way, maybe we can get to the goal faster. And then just taking the collective of, checking the temperature to see if the team also can see the value in you taking that route. So leadership is not been linear. It has not been a focus of mine. I feel like it followed me and it got me into it. But then professionally, it got to a point where I was like, I do want to follow leadership. I do want to study what it means to be a leader. There's a lot of psychology, as you know, William, when you're getting to know people, the team, how do you express to them? How do you get them to sign up on board and come with your ideas, follow you, and also when to pivot and listen to someone else in the team? That's also leadership.
100%. So you started Luminary Catalyst. Is that a dream that you've always had to start and own your own business? Or was this something that came a little unexpectedly?
No. So it actually was a dream of mine. I have always wanted to start my own business and didn't know of what. I remember as young as being 21, 22, thinking about, I like to go get coffee. And I also need to get things gift wrapped. What if there's a coffee shop that also offers gift wrapping?
Nice.
Yeah. And then I was like, what about if you tie that with a car wash? Why? Because you're waiting there for your car to be done and you could be gift wrapping something as well that you might need to go take to a party or something. So I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, but I never knew what company or what business to begin. And it's always been in the back of my mind. So back in the day, my career, I was a financial advisor, but I loved the entrepreneur. I loved the business owner. So
Yeah.
I made that my focus of my wealth management practice. And then I was always secretly jealous of them. Like they took the plunge, they bet on themselves. And then the opportunity presented itself last year that I wanted to then reorg and start my own. But I realized 25 years of business development, nobody teaches you the skill sets. And they're so important. And when you do them right, the results, the ROI are just, they're a game changer and it's an exponential growth. So I've been formulating my messaging and leadership skills on business development. And people can come to me and we can develop a strategy for them.
I love that you said that starting your own business presented things that you were not prepared for. No one teaches you. I find that to be so true in working with a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs. They come to me because they can't see what they can't see. You can't see the whole picture when you're in the frame.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you have encountered in this first year that you did not anticipate, that you did not see coming?
How to articulate what business development is. It's so vague. It's this abstract notion. People think about sales, but they don't think about business development. And it's become this term that it's synonymous with sales, and it's not. Business development takes strategy. It takes focus. It takes tracking. It should be marked with KPIs, like key performance indicators. When it's used well, it's like adding fuel and just it burns your sales team even further, and it gives them better opportunities, better closing ratios, better results. It's a higher impact. So I didn't know how to articulate that so well and how to elevate that because people would just revert back to sales. It's understanding, giving concrete examples of an abstract notion. Business development, it's abstract. What does that mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So education is part of what you do.
Education is a part of it. And also a lot of it is I learned how to re-message my message. And so I tell people Luminary Catalyst's first client is Luminary Catalyst because everything that I preach, I have to do for my company. And we're a fractional business development company. It's like a marketing company needs to market. Business development, I need to be out there networking, spreading the message, tailoring the message, beta testing my message. So everything that I put my clients through, I also do.
It's funny that you say that. The marketing company needs to market. It's often that I look and see with clients, with teams that I'm working with, that whatever service they're providing, they are not doing for themselves. It's like the old adage, the shoemaker's kids have no shoes.
Right.
Do you see that as well?
I do see that a lot. I think for me, it's the incorporating of other channels. I'm great at the networking part. I'm great at staying connected. Like you and I, we met networking, we stayed connected, and look at us now. Yeah. But it's the other channels that are challenging. But I tell my clients, I'm in the trenches with you. Nobody wants to, it becomes a daunting task. What am I going to post in LinkedIn? What am I going to post through Facebook if I have a group for myself? What am I going to post through Instagram? All of the channels that are social media driven, which are valuable and great ways to do business development, I also have to do. So I'm in the trenches with my clients. So the tips and tricks I do, I teach and I practice.
Love that. And I think that's one way that you are authentic to who you are. You're not trying to sell something that you're not doing.
Yeah. No, I'm in sales. I have to teach sales skills. I have to think outside the box with business development. How do I make more time with the same 24 hours? And that's where leveraging technology, automation, a lot of people do not do. And I'm here to tell them technology is a great way to embrace and free up your time.
Yeah. What's been your favorite part of the last year?
Meeting professionals like yourself. It is. I love connecting people. I think that is the undercurrent of success when it comes to networking is how do you then become a game changer for others? And sometimes referring business is fantastic, but sometimes what's more valuable sometimes is a referral of another center of influence that can then make those two people, exponentially better. So I'll give you a current story. Just yesterday, I was having lunch with a bunch of professional ladies, and one of them, her goal for 2025 is to finally write her book. She's like, I want you guys to hold me accountable to write my book. And I said, well, do you know what it entails to get published? She goes, no, I am at a loss. I just have this book inside me that I want to release. And I was like, I know someone. I met someone through an organization that her job, her career, she's got her own virtual publishing company. And would you like to talk to her? And she goes, oh my God, that is so cool. How did you find her? And I was like, networking. She's out of Tennessee. She's like, you know people in Tennessee? I'm like, I know people across the country.
I love that. And I love the other-centric approach to networking that you brought out. And we're both part of an organization called Provisors.
Absolutely.
That connects professional advisors in a lot of different areas. So we have the ability to make these connections as a part of that. One of the key things that drew me into Provisors was their tagline: know, like, trust, and refer.
Absolutely.
And I thought, what a brilliant way to build in a way that is not about you. So often networking, people hate it because they're stressed out because they're focused on themselves. And what if I don't achieve my goal with the networking? What if I don't get what I'm after? That's the wrong mindset, right? It's about, hey, who can I connect, right? What relationship can I build that can help them and out maybe somebody else who could connect with them? And that's what I'm hearing from you. And I love that mindset. Have you always had that, or is that something you've learned?
No, I think I've always had it. I think I've always been a social butterfly. It's funny. I was, you're used to hearing introverts and then extroverts, but there's a third category now that I've become aware of that is actually what they call you're both.
Ambiverts. Yeah.
Ambiverts. Right. And because I love being social, but I can actually recharge my batteries by myself. And so I always feel like my social side has to come out though. And that's when I network. That's when I go out there to connect people. Funny story. My mother-in-law was a housewife, never left the house, but she had a little job on the side of doing nails for people. So I was 20, 21 years old when I met her. William, what was fascinating about her was that her friends would come and say, you always talk to the lady who does your nails or does your hair, and they'd say, I need an AC guy. My AC is just complaining. She goes, oh, hold on. And she had this little book. She'd get out and she'd have people's business cards there. And she'd be like, here, call this person. He did our AC and he was so good. I kept his card here in the book. A housewife had the most valuable thing, and it was never taught to her. She was a master networker. And it wasn't until I got into the world of networking that I realized my mother-in-law had this natural affinity to connect people. And people would go to her like, I need someone to help me with my lawn. I have my lawn guy. Oh, I need this person to help me with this. I need a mechanic. This one my husband said was good.
Yes.
The power.
What a gift.
I know. And I didn't know. It was right there in front of me. And I never saw it that way until years later when I was networking myself.
And I think there's no such thing as a wasted experience. Every part of our lives, everything we go through, everything we see and experience is something that we can take with us going forward. We can either try to hold that all in and try to create a reservoir of all of that insight and wisdom and experience, or we can learn how to be a conduit and share those experiences with other people around us for their benefit. Yeah. And that's what it sounds like your philosophy around networking is.
Yeah. And I think the money will come. The referrals will come in. The revenue will happen. People will be like, and I feel the same way. I gravitate towards people that are givers, and that we're definitely, I'm not here to, the way I see it is I've been blessed already with a lot of great referrals. The least I can do is return the favor and pay it forward in the universe. And it's a multiplier.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. In the first year of your business, we've talked about the high points, your favorite part. What are some of the challenges? What are some of the things that you've really struggled through this year?
Accountability I think as a business owner, you have to have someone that will put a mirror up to you and be like, have you done your goals? Have you done this? Finding the right accountability partner, because a lot of people, they'll be like, yes, I'll be your accountability partner. But slowly they get to like you, and then they don't want to hold you accountable because then they don't want to hurt your feelings.
Right.
Well, no, I came to you so you do hurt my feelings.
That's right. That's what I need.
I came to you so you can hold me accountable. Hence, call me out when I'm not doing what I said I was going to do.
Yes.
So they get to, and then they're like, yeah, but can I really do that? Yes, I will do that for you. I will hurt your feelings. I just need you to return the favor.
I call that the last 10% of honesty.
Yes.
The first 90% is really easy for us to give to one another. We don't mind doing that. The last 10% is what we often hold back because we don't want to damage a relationship. We don't want to hurt someone's feelings. And if it's a boss, we don't want to get fired.
We don't want to get fired.
The problem with holding that back is that the last 10% is where transformation lives. And if you build relationships and a team and a company around, hey, the expectation here, the demand is that we are going to be last 10% people here.
I love that.
Transformative. It's transformative. It moves you into that high performance space.
That's amazing. You've got to put that on a t-shirt, put that on a book. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like the last 10% people, or like, I totally understand what you mean, because you're part of an elite level of professional that you're like, it's not just about liking you. It's about holding you accountable. And I'm going to be part of that 10%.
Yes. Because I want something more for you than just mediocrity.
I totally agree with that. There's so much truth in what you just said, for sure. For sure.
So thinking about your business, you're at the first year. Like if you were to project out and you were to look forward, what is one thing that you want most in your business?
Revenue. I am a capitalist. I say this to everybody. I want to, everybody says the same thing, transform people, help other businesses, blah, blah, blah. But I can't do that unless I'm having success and I'm having revenue. Because if I'm having revenue, that means I have clients. And if I have clients, then that means that I'm helping other businesses. So for me, people think of it the other way around. They want to go with, I want to help businesses. Yes. But anyone that's a good client is someone that can pay for my fees and services. There's a certain level of investment in yourself and in your business that you're going to have to do. But I will help you calculate the ROI so I can show you that I've already paid for my services X or 3X. So now I'm free because I'm bringing you revenue, and therefore I'm not costing you a penny. I'm actually that multiplier for you.
100%. So thinking about that, this is the thing that you want most. What stops you? What are the obstacles in the way of that?
I'm fine-tuning my messaging. I think that there's that mentality of like, if I narrow my search too much, then I'm cheating myself out of all these other opportunities. But changing the mindset, to your point with leadership, right? So with leadership, you've got to see it as a different paradigm shift. So I do believe there's that saying, the riches is in the niches, where if you become so good at what you teach and what you show or how you're implementing change through business development, people will seek you out because there's no one out there with the same strategies or messaging or methodologies.
Yes. 100%. You bring something special. You bring the unique experiences that you have had. You have a knowledge base that no one else has.
Right.
And every one of our listeners has the same thing. And when you bring that to bear for the people that you work with, you are bringing something that no one else can replicate. That is your differentiator.
Right. And I feel also, to your point, I'm part of that 10%. I will hold you accountable. That last 10% where you have that growth, that is where I definitely flourish. So anyone, like I have a client right now that, as I was telling her, I'm going to put you through this course. And I could see the anxiety rising up on her. And poor thing. And I was like, I see you getting tense. I see you. I said, but that's fine. I said, that happens to anybody whenever you are going into a gym and you're going to meet your trainer for the first time or a coach for whatever it is that you're doing. That coach is going to put you through the uncomfortableness that you won't put yourself through. That's what I'm here for. That's that 10%, to your point. That is where the magic happens.
100%. So thinking about your journey so far, you have to lead at a higher level today for your clients than you did even just a few years ago. And a few years from now, you're going to have to lead at a higher level still. How do you stay on top of your game? How do you level up with the new leadership skills that your clients are going to need you to have in the years to come?
I'm connected with professionals that are great leaders in the community already, whether a virtual community through Provisors like yourself or my local community down here in South Florida. I feel that there's people that have leadership skills. Like, that's the thing. There's a whole bunch of certifications out there for leadership coaches or business coaches or anything like that. There's a certification for just about anything out there. But at the end of the day, it's what they have in failures. I say failure is the best teacher for leadership, because you can then speak from a position of, this is me learning from my own faults. So I don't want to know about your successes. I want to know how you recovered from your failures, what lessons that taught you, how are you sharing that with everyone? And leadership can mean, my company bankrupt after X many years. What did you learn from that? Or I was able to recover this after chapter 11 or chapter 13, whichever one it is. So sometimes the leadership style from a business coach or from someone who's in the leadership game like yourself is, I love to read. So I love reading the books also, but the practicality, I call it like lecture and lab when we were back in college. When I was in my science classes, there was a lecture part where you get to know somebody and you listen to them. And then there's a lab portion where you got to go put those things into action. And you are testing out those chemicals and seeing the chemical reaction. You are testing out everything. So in theory, everything works. I want to know in the practical world. So to your point, how do I level up my leadership? I seek others whom they can mentor me, develop great, strong relationships with them, get to know them. And also, what can I bring to the table for them? It could be a new perspective. It could be anything. But I also like to read the books of people like that, have a stable 30, 40-year career, that they've seen the evolution of leadership.
I think that's brilliant. I love the lecture and lab. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. It's funny. Sales techniques, people think I can learn them from a book. I bought them. But until you have someone that teaches you the nuances on the back end, that's where the in-person lab comes in. That's where your business coach has to be someone who's been through the sales process. You know,
100%.
It's the way it goes. Yeah.
You want somebody who's been there, who's been down this road, who can help you as you're taking your steps toward where they are.
Right.
So thinking of books, and you love to read just like I do, are there some books that have made a really big difference in your journey that you would recommend to the leaders who are listening?
Funny enough, I've switched over to podcasts because...
Nice. Same question for podcasts then.
I did switch. And I'll tell you why I switched over to podcasts, because I want to hear the way people explain themselves and how they frame things. When you're having a candid conversation like this, it's not gone through the filter of a editor.
That's right.
So I've gotten a better feel from people's podcasts than I have from the books now. It's almost like an evolution of things, because I will follow them through their journey of past podcasts and see where now they're sounding, where have been their changes. So I love The Diary of a CEO. That's been one of my favorites because I've discovered a lot of great people there. I've also loved reading about CEOs that I've really liked. Like, I have to admit, Steve Jobs, I hated him, but when I read his biography, I was like, okay, I get you. I don't like you, but I liked his journey,
Yeah.
Anna Winters is another one that's a controversial figure. I mean, she's run Vogue forever, and there's people that love her and hate her. So why do I go to that? Because it's a tough act to be in the fashion industry, and at the same time, you are a woman in a game that is so tough. So,
Yes.
and some people like her, some people do. I like the controversial leaders.
Hmm?
Those are the ones that are contrarians. Those are the ones that shake up an industry. Those are the
Yes.
ones that said, I don't want to do it this way. I want to do it that way. And those are the innovators.
I always say you can learn from anybody. Sometimes it's what not to do. But the controversial leaders are the ones who are not afraid. They're the ones who are willing to get out there and fail and figure out what doesn't work until they figure out what does.
Right. And some people want successes. They want them like the fast pass or this and that. But when you learn how to learn from your failures, it's like, and I love learning through other people's failures. I don't need to go through that.
I don't want to make all the mistakes myself.
Tell me where you went wrong so I can avoid that pit stop.
That's right. Exactly. I'd rather not drive into that ditch. Thank you, though.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me know there's a ditch there. I'll take
That's
the ditch.
Right.
You
That's
know?
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
so
I love reading about the controversial leaders out there.
Yeah, I love that.
Very true.
As we're winding up, often people will walk away from an episode, a conversation like this, and they'll have one big idea that they take away. If you could define what you'd like people to walk away with, one big idea, what would you like that one idea to be?
Meet as many professionals as you can. Build your well before you're thirsty. If you're thinking of starting a new business, get out there and network. Get out there and talk to people. The best feedback is from people that you already know. But the other big idea is you need to get out there and meet fellow entrepreneurs because they're the ones that are already taking that plunge. If you stick to people in your circle, they don't understand that yearning you have. I've been there where I've asked people, when can I start my business? Or what do you think? And then the hesitation to take that leap of faith, you got to go to those that have already taken that leap of faith. So if there's any one big idea, get to know other people that have taken that leap of faith.
So good.
Because failure is not that big a deal. Like, you pick yourself up again, and what's the worst that can happen? You can go get yourself another job.
That's right. Keep pressing. And the people around you, the community that you build with the relationships that you foster, that community is what speaks life and hope and encouragement into you on those days when you need that. And every entrepreneur, every entrepreneur I know goes through difficult days. Every one of us struggle and wonder, is this actually going to work? Can we do this? And that's when you need people around you.
Also, you need to have people that you can vent to when things hit the fan. And you need to have someone that's going to be there, that's going to be like, okay, I get it. This is a dark path. I could go into problem-solving mode with me, or do you want me to just hear you out and let you vent, and then tomorrow you'll be fine, okay again? And that's an elite group of people you can have in your life. And find those people that you can call for different things. Yeah.
So good. Every time we talk, I walk away with so much encouragement and insight from your journey because you're so generous with it. You operate in such an open-handed way in sharing from what you've learned. And I'm so grateful for you being on the show today and sharing in that same vein. I know
I
our listeners.
I appreciate you asking me. You invited me to do this.
Absolutely.
I will not say no.
I know our listeners are going to want to stay connected to you and continue to learn from you and more about what you're doing. What is the best way for them to do that?
They can definitely reach out to me through LinkedIn. My name is unique, Mariangelica Alvarado. You're going to see the banner that says Luminary Catalyst. Send me a private message. Let's connect. You can also go to my website, luminarycatalyst.com. They're welcome to go there. And, there's a way that you can reach out to us by email. And let's connect on LinkedIn. And I think it's a great way for us to foster those relationships. Reach out and say hi. You just never know.
Absolutely. And we'll have all those links in the show notes.
We met
That's exactly right. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. We're going to have all those links in the show notes so our listeners can connect with you.
Looking forward to it.
Mariangelica, thank you so much.
William, the pleasure's mine. 100%, I have to say. I think I had more fun than you did.
Thanks for joining me for this episode today. As we wrap up, I'd love for you to do two things. First, subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you find value here, I'd love it if you would rate it and review it. That really does make a difference in helping other people to discover this podcast. Second, if you don't have a copy of my newest book, Catalytic Leadership, I'd love to put a copy in your hands. If you go to catalyticleadershipbook.com, you can get a copy for free. Just pay the shipping so I can get it to you, and we'll get one right out. My goal is to put this into the hands of as many leaders as possible. This book captures principles that I've learned in 20 plus years of coaching leaders in the entrepreneurial space, in business, government, nonprofits, education, and the local church. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn to keep up with what I'm currently learning and thinking about. And if you're ready to take a next step with a coach to help you intentionally grow and thrive as a leader, I'd be honored to help you. Just go to catalyticleadership.net to book a call with me. Stay tuned for our next episode next week. Until then, as always, leaders, choose to be catalytic.
Thanks for listening to Catalytic Leadership with Dr. William Attaway. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss the next episode. Want more? Go to catalyticleadership.net.